Hello, happy Monday. I've got my trusty almost sixth grader with me. He wanted to help with this math video about decimals. We are reviewing decimals. I thought this is a really important concept to review because it's just tricky. So we are going to be talking about adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. I'll be doing another video about what you're going to be working on this week in your assignment. But right now we're just going to go over some handy tips to remember when adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. All right, so when we are subtracting, we're going to talk about that first. So right here we have 8.04 minus 6.8. Now, the most important thing to remember, I'm going to move this a little bit. The most important thing to remember is what, Weston? What do we need to remember?
We need to remember to line up the decimals.
You got to line up the decimals, okay? It's really important. Now, I'm going to have you step over just a second. It's written this way, okay? Unless you're a super genius, you might be like, oh, I can just do this in my head. You want to line this up. Now, what students, sixth graders want to do is they want to do this. Okay, now if we were just adding 804 plus 68, this is what we would do, but this is not going to get you the correct answer when you're trying to find the decimal. So this isn't right. So we need to erase this. So Weston, how are we going to line this up? So why don't you do that?
So since you want to line up the decimals.
Or why don't you use this because it's a little darker.
Okay.
And then Weston will move out of the way so we can see what he did.
So you want to line up the decimals.
Okay.
8.2 hundredths.
Mm-hmm.
And 6.8. And
Do you want to put a zero further?
Yeah, 0.8 is also the same as if you add a zero at the end.
Okay. And then a subtraction. Yeah. All right, so this is awesome. So we have 8.04 or 8 4/100ths minus 6.8 tenths. Now what Weston did is he just added a zero as just a placeholder. This doesn't change 6.8. It's just helping us solve it. All right, so Weston, why don't you go ahead and solve that? See if he gets it right. Okay. And if you want to solve this and see if you can get the same answer as Weston, you may do that. All right. So he did 4 minus 0 is 4. Okay, you can't say 0 minus 8, so we're going to borrow from the 8, give it a 7. This is going to be 10 minus 8, which is 2, and 7 minus 6, which is 1. So we have 1 and 24 hundredths. That is correct. Okay, so the biggest thing with subtracting, you must line up the decimals. Okay, you must line up the decimals. All right, adding. What do you think for adding, Weston? Do you think that same rule is going to apply?
Yes.
Okay, so do we need to line up the decimals when adding?
Yes.
Yes. All right, so why don't you do that? 6.2 tenths plus 3.4 tenths. Something that's really helpful, obviously, when you are working with decimals, if you have graph paper, I highly suggest using that to keep all your little numbers organized. It just makes it easier.
Want me to add it?
Okay, you're going to add that up. Okay, what did you get? We have 9.6 tenths. Okay, 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 and 6 tenths. All right. You may erase that. Okay, adding and subtracting. I feel like adding is really simple. Subtracting, pretty simple. Just remember to line up your decimals. Okay, we now have a multiplication decimal problem. Move this again. Okay, so we have 0.010 times 13.9. Now, what's awesome about multiplying decimals is you do not need to line up the decimals. Okay, that's pretty fantastic. So what we're going to do, I'm going to write it out for you, Weston,
okay,
and then you're going to solve it. Okay. Okay, he's going to solve it like a regular multiplication problem. So let me kind of come in here, show what I wrote here. We're going to watch Weston solve this. Man, Weston's doing all the work for me. I like that. So remember, with multiplying, you're just acting like you're just doing a regular multiplication problem. We're going to worry about the decimals afterwards. All right. So we multiplied the 9. What do we need to do now, Weston? Do we need to multiply the 3 through?
Yes.
Okay. So what are you going to do below that 0 right here? What are we going to do here?
You're gonna do 3 times 0.
But before you do that, do we need to put an X? So we're going to put an X because we're now doing a second digit. You're going to multiply that all the way through and start there.
I remember I usually do like a 0, but you can do X.
Okay, hold on really quick. So we did 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 0, good, perfect. Okay, now we're multiplying a second number through. What do we need to put down here?
Another X.
2 X's actually. So we're gonna put 2 X's. Okay, and now we're gonna multiply that 1 all the way through. Awesome. Okay. Now we need to add. Now the tip is going to come in just a second when I talk about what we need to do with the decimals. So add that all up, Weston. Now you can see why it's so important to line up your numbers because this can get a little tricky. So why don't you line that up? Awesome. Okay. He's got an answer here. This is really, really important to know, to remember. We need to count how many numbers are after the decimals. Let's count this up, Weston. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 numbers after the decimal. We're going to come over here and we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, what is our answer? We can knock off this 0. It doesn't matter.
0 and 0 and 1,000.
Just read a regular.
Okay. 1,330.
And then tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000s. 1,330 10,000s. Okay. So the biggest takeaway for multiplying, do it like a regular multiplication problem. When you get to the bottom and you get your answer, add up all the numbers after the decimal and move the decimal over. All right. Let me put this back. Let's go to our division problem. So let me erase this. Okay, so for our division problem, we have 0.0. I'm going to step over just for a second. We have 0.045 divided by 0.15. Okay, this number is going to go inside the little division house. So we have 0.045 divided by 0.15. Now, the tip for dividing decimals is right at the beginning of this. The biggest thing to know is, I'm going to move this a little closer. You must move this decimal over. It's got to get to the front door. When we were in class, we were talking about this a lot. You moved it over 2 times. If you're moving this over twice, you must move this over twice. Wherever this number is, it's going to come right up and hang out right there. Okay. Ignore this 0. We're now going to say, okay, how many times does 15, and we're going to start moving through. Okay. So Weston, how are we going to solve this? Does 15 go into 0?
No, it can't. So what you want to put a 0 right in the front.
Okay. Good.
0. And then you ask yourself, how many times can 15 go into another 0? No. Can 15 go into 4? No.
And you can start multiplying that through and bring it down here if you want.
But can 15 go into 45?
Okay.
Yes.
And how many times?
Let's see. 3 times.
Okay. So 15 times
3.
And then what's 15 times 3?
45.
I'm doing the word for him. Okay. So what is our answer, Weston?
3.
Point.
Oh,
0.3. Is
yeah.
a whole number 3 very different than 3
Yes.
tenths? Yes. Okay. So with division, you have to move the decimal over, and then you have to move this decimal over also, and then bring it up. And then your answer is 3 tenths. Okay. So that is decimals. Okay. So I'm going to do another video about the assignment that you're going to be working on this week. And there's some helpful hints there. You can refer back to this. Any tips you want to give for decimal work, Weston? Do you think it helps to be neat?
Yes, because if you're not neat, then you could one simple mistake and the
Whole problem changes.
equation's wrong. Yeah.
Okay. Do you suggest rushing through your work?
No.
No.
Take your time and really after you're done with the problem, just look back and just check to see if you're right.
Exactly.
Double check.
All right. Best of luck on your decimal work. Super impressed. I'm recording this on a Thursday. You guys aren't going to see it until Monday. But I'm really impressed with the answers that are coming through for the Forgetful Pharaoh. I hope you guys had fun with that. Great job on your fraction work. Okay, guys. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.